those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
It's lunchtime and the Brooklyn Cafe is open for business. Live from the AMP Media Studios, Dawn and Freddie S. and their team are ready to serve up a huge portion of fun for lunch with friends and neighbors. So let's break open that lunch pail and unwrap that sandwich you brought and take a front row seat in the Brooklyn Cafe and get ready to enjoy some humor and hot topics. It's time to get a healthy serving of hope and happiness to help your day go by with a smile. Your hosts, Dawn and Freddie S., are ready to talk about food, health, dating, or just plain dream making. If you have a story to share, movie review, restaurant critique, or just a coincidental thing that happened to you, call in toll free 888-994-4995, Studio A right now. Sit back and enjoy your lunch break at the Brooklyn Cafe. Here are your hosts, Dawn and Freddie S.
Welcome to this day. Today's Wednesday, right?
Today is Wednesday.
To this day,
Wednesday.
Wednesday. Do you see what I am wearing?
I love your new shirt.
See that? Now this, what are you looking at?
The shirt?
You're making fun of me?
Not at all. I'm waiting for you to tell all our friends in Radio Land what you're wearing.
This, I forgot. Mr.
Yes.
Radio, are you there, Mr. Radio?
Yes, I am.
I have on a cartoon shirt that was put together by the crew here, and they did it in 24 hours.
It is amazing. It is a cartoon rendition of you and me, the adventures of the Brooklyn Cafe Show. It's hilarious. You got your hat, I got my wand. My wand is actually a star in your face. It is hilarious.
I gotta tell you,
down to your shoes and socks. Look what she's got on there.
Yeah, I got socks that are coming out with the cartoon character.
It's amazing. You should.
And I ordered it. And the second strip of the cartoon will be out by next week because it's a series. And she's hilarious. Bailey is hilarious. But we gave her a shirt yesterday and she got all emotional because she felt like she did something that was accomplished and recognized. But if you want to get your own cartoon shirt, visit us at the brooklyncafe.tv. Go to the merch store. It's in there. Order it. It comes in all sizes and colors and everything else.
I love it.
And
it looks great on you. I have to say, when you sent it to me, I thought that logo is so big for a t-shirt, but it actually looks really, really nice.
It's really funny. People do one of two things. Do you like it? They don't like it, but they go, oh, nice.
Bree, can you put Freddie's hat in the camera, please?
And the word nice means, no, not so much. Now today she tells me the truth.
It looks, I told you that yesterday, I think it looks fantastic. I know, I look a little wicked and evil, but then again, those listening are probably like, you look a little wicked and evil anyway.
Yeah, give me a break. I look like that. I don't look like that.
So happy Wednesday, everyone. Welcome to our Brooklyn Cafe Brunch Hour live on WWNN 95.3, 96.9 FM, and 1470 AM. Give us a call live. Say hi to Mr. Radio Man, 888-565-1470. I have to ask you, after last night's manifestation with Sunny, Feel Great Meditate, I moved your lights to try to get more, because I wanted to get it across the whole ceiling.
Yes, after 222 with Sunny.
Are you feeling more inspired? Have you manifested greatness after last night?
Absolutely.
All good things are coming to you now, right?
Absolutely. The phone has not stopped ringing.
Have you been busy today? Seriously?
Since 7 o'clock this morning.
Have they been good phone calls?
They have been. As a matter of fact, I spoke to one of our executive producers in here. We are going back on the road. We are going to start doing remotes again.
Fantastic.
Oh, you ain't been with us on remotes, ladies. It is wicked incredible. Because you get to meet people and you get to talk and everybody comes over and you sell your services and your cars and you're wheeling and dealing, and everybody's like, wow, what's going on here? There's lights going on. Remember that
It's
place?
all about changing your mindset. See? Yesterday, manifested all kinds of things in that portal.
No, I didn't. I do this all the time.
No, you're never this happy.
If you need a specific date to change your manifestation mind, then you know something? Go see Doc, because you need a little
Which is why she's here.
Screws tighten up.
She's going to talk about the portal. We've got Dr. Hilary,
You're not talking about portals, Hilary, are you?
Dr. Taylor's Holistic Community joining us in studio. We've got Brittany Brosimer joining us of Dignity Memorial, Southeast Florida, star of David Cemeteries.
Did you notice where
Morris.
she's sitting?
She's sitting in Wayne's chair?
That's right. How's
Wayne,
it feel?
it's all good.
Feels good because Wayne has been there for 2 years, 2.5 years.
But I love Brittany came in early today to take a look around our gallery and to look at some pieces that she's going to have furnished her new home with, which is
Yes.
pretty exciting.
Yes, and hopefully by the end of the week I have some new pieces coming in.
Nice.
Some art sculptures, because what we're missing in here is sculptures.
Those do make me nervous around me and Slick.
No, Slick is not allowed in the room where the sculptures are, because you and Slick are just wow. Anyway.
It does make me nervous, and I just have to tell you, for all of those that don't know what we do behind the scenes, our crew is 95% run by interns from local universities. So when you see our Facebook posts with the different mascots, it's because right now those are the universities that we have incredible students joining us. And it's relatively a new semester, so bear with us because they learn as we go and grow, as Freddie always says, along the way. And a lot of great things are happening. So they have been spectacular, and new commercials are coming out. I had Brittany said if you look at the show and see, every commercial that we air is produced in-house. Every transition.
From scratch.
From the beginning. Every commercial, every transition, every elements that you see put together comes from our students and our staff at the Brooklyn Cafe show. So if we can help you amplify your impact, even bring your commercials to life on Comcast, which we have the honor of doing in any zone, not only in South Florida, but anywhere in Florida, we can get your commercial airing. Just give us a call at 866-224-5422.
You saw Doc did her spot.
It was great.
Right? I didn't even recognize it. I had to put it on a couple times.
It was really great. And you do take direction very well, I have to say. Dr. Hilary, she came in on Friday. She voiced over her own commercial. And I knew in my head what I wanted to see, and you did it and did it. So congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Why don't we do a commercial break and cue up some of these commercials?
Okay, so you can see them.
We're going to take a quick commercial break. Join our fun on this Wednesday before we get into the nitty-gritty of February 23rd, 2022. It's all in the power of the numbers.
Yeah, here we go.
It's still a good number, I got to tell you. 888-565-1470. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Have you been injured in a car accident, slip and fall, or through the negligence of another? The lawyers at Shane M. Farnsworth, PA have over 40 years of combined experience representing injured individuals and their families. Call us today at 561-272-8337 for a free case evaluation and the answers to your legal questions. Were you injured in an accident that wasn't your fault? Don't let the insurance companies take advantage of you. Contact us now to learn about your options and to protect your rights.
Welcome to Sunshine Senior Solutions, a medical supply company that puts patients first. Sunshine Senior Solutions offer durable medical equipment and services that help simplify the lives of patients, caregivers, and their families. Visit our website at sunshineseniorsolutions.com. Sunshine Senior Solutions, bringing the heart back to healthcare.
Cool, calm, collected. Needing a drink to end a long day, or maybe to start your vacation right? Gubba Rum is here to let you kick back and do just that. Inspired by a technique that dates back to the 1800s, these artisanal, organic, and naturally infused rums are made from pure cane and the finest fruits, spices, and herbs the world has to offer. Gubba Silver is infused with naturally shredded coconut, and Gubba Gold is infused with real vanilla bean. Simply shake and enjoy. Visit gubbarum.com to find the nearest location to buy or enjoy. All establishments have personally reviewed and enjoyed firsthand the wicked smoothness of Gubba Rum. 35% ABV and 70 proof. Gubba Rum, it's wicked smooth.
You've been watching the Brooklyn Cafe Show. Join us each day and after hours as we talk about the hot topics to open the conversations and share a few laughs. Now, back to Dawn and Freddie S.
This portion of the show is sponsored by Dignity Memorial Southeast Florida. Whether you're planning ahead or need immediate service, do it with Dignity. Dignity Memorial, every detail remembered.
And we're back. I didn't even know that was coming up. Very nice.
Very
Dignity
nice.
Memorial piece. Who did that?
Alyssa,
A-Train?
A-Train did that.
Very nice.
So the segment of the show is brought to you by Dignity Memorial Southeast Florida. And we've got Brittany Brosimer joining us from Star of David up at I.J. Morris in Palm Beach Gardens?
Yes.
Palm Beach Gardens. We just got to have you hold your mic. And Dignity Memorial Southeast Florida. We had the pleasure of meeting Brittany a few weeks ago through Wayne when I went up on my tour of Star of David up north. And I said, I'm not taking this trip up here again. And Freddie says, don't worry, next time you won't be taking the trip up here again. But no, it is lovely. And I thank you for taking the time to show me around, to show us around, because your gardens are just spectacular.
Thank you. Thank you for having me again. And yeah, it's very peaceful up there. That's what I like about it. You know, it's quaint. It's not off like a main highway, so it's peaceful there.
I feel like I've spent a lot of time in Dignity offices lately. I was up at yours, and last week I met Wayne over at Babylon East to sign some paperwork.
Yes.
And it really takes the fear out of it when you walk in, when you don't have to be there for a sad occasion, and you realize your offices are lovely.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's so much easier to come in ahead of time when everyone's healthy, happy, and we're just taking care of business. But yeah, we have been redoing a lot of our funeral homes in the area as well, kind of keeping everything updated. And we are doing that with I.J. Morris as well soon. So I'm very excited about that.
Yes, our new pieces coming in. Now, you run that whole show up there?
I run the whole show.
I got to tell you, I have been to plenty of grave sites, or whatever you want to call them. This one is like totally different. It has the park, the grounds.
The wetlands,
The wetlands.
that are
Right.
staying, the
We're-
preserve area.
Yeah, we're right near the northernmost part of the Everglades. So it's a lot of untouchable land up there that we're surrounded by, which kind of guarantees always having that nice peace and quiet around the cemetery itself.
What I really like about it is, for me, there were certain things I knew I did not want. I did not want a marker on the ground where people would have to walk over other bodies
Exactly.
to get to me. I didn't want heels having to sink in the grass. Hillary's laughing, but in my mind, these are all the things that haunt me at night when I think about what's going to happen. You don't want heels going in. If it's muddy, people are walking over other bodies, and you've got this marker on the ground. So when I met with Wayne last year, I said, these are the things I don't want. What are my options that I do want? And that's how we came up with Star of David, because you've got lovely sidewalks on every, I want to say aisle, but on every area, right? There's either a road or a sidewalk. You're not walking over anyone.
Exactly.
And then your markers, you have stand-up markers also.
Yes, so we have a little bit of everything for everyone's different, needs. But the newer gardens that we're building, they're all sidewalk access. It's just done the best. It's easier for us to maintain, and our families are much happier being able to walk up on the sidewalk to visit their loved one. And it's just lots of new developments coming, and they're all going to be sidewalked like that.
It's funny because I just went to a funeral not too long ago, and getting to the spot was a challenge.
You saw the same thing that I kept saying, right?
Well, first it was hilly. It was on a hill. And the grass, I don't know what kind of grass this is. I've been sports in over 20 years. I've never seen grass like this. It was like long and bumpy, and it was very bumpy. And then
because it was dug up because there's people underground.
the whole thing? It could be. You could be right. And then to help people to get there, seniors to get there,
Right.
it's a challenge. Now, a lot of people says, nobody's going to visit me. Well, if you're going to go to this thing, I wouldn't visit you either if I get to an age. I mean, I'd be waving from the road because I'd probably break an ankle to get there. I'm being very honest. I had people sitting on headstones because they were exhausted trying to get the trek there. So I think it's really important.
You need golf cart access?
You can't do a golf cart with this thing. This thing is like, I've never seen anything like that. I know in Puerto Rico, my parents also, you have to trek to get there. So I asked them, when with the sidewalk coming, now there's a sidewalk just like you guys have. Makes a big difference. People don't visit you if it's, once you get there, you're going hiking. They put on my hiking boots, and me get a hiking stick, and me
But
go
think
out
about
there.
how it's just a sign of the times of convenience of what people want, because you're a newer cemetery.
Yeah,
relatively within this system.
Relatively, yeah. We started in the 60s, but that's all the front area when you first pull into the cemetery where all those flat footstones are, no sidewalk access. So as we started expanding where we could, we were like, we're going to add some sidewalk access, and it's done so well, and that's just how we're going to build from now on.
And the gardens are beautiful, and the hedge line. I've learned a whole lot of information.
Yes.
The hedge lines.
Very nice.
Right, in the gardens.
You can kind of make your own little private area for your family, for yourself.
That's
and
very cool.
It's very nice and
It's
peaceful.
very
And I gotta tell you, not for nothing, you know, when you see like the old time graveyards and there are no stones, it's all like plaques on the ground and stuff. You see a flower coming out of the ground. It gives me the creeps, man. I gotta be honest with you. I said, God, I gotta live forever because I can't be out there. I just can't do that.
Not amongst the dandelions.
Dandelions, there's like, I mean, I don't want to criticize because, you know, that's sort of sacrilege.
Listen, everyone has their choices to make, and I'm glad that I was able to put my plans in place and actually get some agreement from my rest of my family to say okay instead of no, I don't want to talk about it. At least I got an okay, so I was able to move forward and put everything in place. And
Yes.
so I thank you for all of your help in doing that. Now I've got 7 contracts from Dignity. I need to go through them and see which ones are valid and which ones I have upgraded, because only I would upgrade funeral contracts.
She will clear that whole thing up.
Who does that?
You do.
I do.
I'm going to tell you, it is difficult being you.
Yes.
And I'm not
Because
gonna
I
say-
think that I can do things basic and simple.
Well, you're very
Doc.
basic and
I
very
think I
simple.
can do things like other people.
Yeah, yeah.
And I do, and then I don't like it, and then I have to do what I want to do for
You
me.
took me the first spot. I went, okay, what? She says, look, I got a tree. I said, what?
I was going basic and simple,
All
and
20
I
of us are
realized
going to be under that tree? Tree's about this big.
Embrace the fact that you are not basic or simple.
I guess that's the thing, right?
I mean, living in alignment, that's the thing.
I almost
Like,
called
That
you.
is true.
we won't be happy unless it feels good.
I almost called you to talk to her because I was like, she brought me there. I said, what? Say what? Here? What? No.
But sometimes it's a process, especially with something as serious as this. It's a process to figure out what you want and what you don't want.
You figured it out?
You're 100% right. It was absolutely a process, because when Wayne started this conversation with me, it was probably 2 years ago, and I didn't want to talk about it. And then finally, last year, I did half the plan, and I did that after you did your half. I did the other half. He says, you don't want a casket with angels? I said, no, I would love a casket with angels. He said, nobody wants that. I go, okay, but I do. So we did that half. And then we went on to the cemetery half months and months later. And I said, all right, just put something in place. I don't care. Just let's do it. And now, since Wayne is now leaving Dignity, I really needed to make a trip up there to take a look at what I had just done in Studio B on an iPad. And Brittany was gracious enough to get us in her golf cart and show us around and all of the different options. And there are so many, and there's going to be something in alignment with you in some of the Dignity cemeteries. And there's a different cemetery for everyone, whether you want the niche for cremation, whether you want the reef, Neptune Memorial Reef, if you want burial. They even have above ground burials that you can do in your own family estate, which I'd never even realized.
I thought that was really cool.
And then they've got the full service mausoleum. I mean, there's so many options. You just have to find the right Dignity cemetery that works for you.
Exactly. There's so many options, and a lot of people don't realize there's so many options. So it does take them some time to figure out, okay, what exactly do I want? But it's so much easier when you can make that decision rather than your family on the spot making that decision with all the different options that are available now. So it's definitely just growing, and more options are becoming available. And we're very excited at Star of David because we are building a brand new mausoleum. Holds 600 people.
The mausoleums are beautiful at Star David.
Yes, and I am hoping we will be able to start pre-selling the spaces in mid-March.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow, construction's fast.
Yes, well, pre-sale, a little different.
There's room at the inn.
Yes.
There's always room at the inn, I have to tell you.
It's a community.
I
love it.
It's 100% a community.
It is.
And then I didn't have to, but I did put Chuck's cremation plan in place. He wouldn't talk about it. And as I was telling you, Wayne, on Friday, he went to eat a chip last Wednesday. He's standing at the counter having a snack at like 6 o'clock. And I said, I just want you to know I met with Wayne and Brittany. I put the plans in place that I told you. And I did a pre-need cremation plan for you as well. And it was like mid-bite. And he actually looked up at me and he said, thank you. And so that was really, it's good to know that all the plans are in place. But I was uncomfortable even doing that because I don't know what he really wanted.
Exactly.
And all I could think about is I can go home and I have 30 days to change this plan.
Right.
But heaven forbid, when someone's in that situation, you don't have 30 days to change your mind. You have to actually think, what would my loved one have wanted? And what can I now afford? Because I now have to pay it in full. And it was this uncomfortable feeling that I did not expect.
Exactly.
And we've worked with you for years. I didn't expect to feel uncomfortable in putting this in place for somebody else, but I did. And if I'm used to this conversation, I can only imagine how uncomfortable other people would feel, how you felt not knowing that your mom had put plans in place. Imagine having to sit there and pick everything out under those dire circumstances.
I did that for my brother. It's really hard.
Right? And you don't know. And then it comes down to what can we actually afford, not what they would have wanted.
Right.
It becomes a cost situation.
That's right. And you never have choice. And I'm saying this really upfront when there's a cost situation. The cost now is your choice. Yeah, maybe you want to be above ground. Maybe you want to be a Muslim. Maybe you want. But the cost is going to deter what you want. See, I met Wayne because my son decided in his wisdom to cremate me. And this was Sunday dinner. And I threw the fork at him and says, I'm not getting cremated. How dare you? Well, what do you want us to do with you? Really? Not that. So unless you make a decisive plan, if you take actions in your own hands, then you remove costs. When cost comes, you got no choice because you can only afford what cost would allow you.
So I've been thinking about that a lot, and I've realized that is really, I understand where Freddie was coming from.
Oh, I'm pretty sure you do.
And you were not happy with it.
No, you should come and talk to me.
But I can understand why even kids, you're young, if something happens to your parents or someone else and you have to make that decision, where do you come up with the money?
But who are you going to leave your paperwork to if something happens? To the youngin'. And the youngin' is going to say, what's the fastest way of getting rid of this situation?
Well, no, your boys are different. Gio says the other day, I don't want my urn to be in the ground. I want it on somebody's mantle so they can visit me all the time. And then I want to be compressed into a diamond. This is his younger son.
The family jewels.
He goes, the family jewels is what I want to do. That's an option you have.
It is.
Tell Wayne, thank you very much.
I love that.
Now he wants to be a jewel. And then he wants to be a tree. I said, why don't you just go bury yourself in the backyard?
We can do it all.
But at least it opens up the conversation, right? And people always want to know what we do. And we say we open up those difficult conversations that people would not normally have. So herein lies the difficult conversation.
Yeah, but we don't argue when they say, I want to be a tree. Okay, what kind of tree you want to be? You want to be a pear tree, an apple tree, whatever. I'm encouraging.
It's because
But they don't ask me.
It's because when we get to our age, they think we have money to buy and do anything that we so choose.
What are they talking about?
Is that what young people think? My parents can do this. She's laughing. See?
Sometimes.
See? That's it.
Now, the funny thing is, you ever been in a situation where you know someone who has died, what they wanted, and then comes the family, which you've never met, and they're doing the complete opposite. And you can't say anything, right? What are you going to do?
Legally, the next of kin is the next of kin. But the good thing about pre-arrangements is it's already been paid for by mom and dad. If you want to change everything up, we can do that, but it's not going to be locked in at the price when they did this. And, it's most of the time we don't see that. A lot of the times people are just appreciative that mom and dad took care of it and they go along with the flow. Of course, there's family drama that happens more so than not, but we stay out of that because mom already chose what she wants, and this is what she wanted, and you guys can go ahead and take the drama elsewhere.
Well, you haven't remembered my sons. You see, half of me is going to go towards a diamond, and the other half...
No, he just wants a pound of your ass, she said.
A pound. He goes, can I have an arm?
A limb, he says, yes.
Can I have a limb? So I can make this diamond. I said, no.
That's our executive
Don't worry,
producer.
we would not allow that.
A limb.
He's hilarious.
What is wrong with that kid?
He's a
and then my
funny guy.
other son just wants to get it over. He says, Dad, how much money is the coffin going to cost? I said, don't worry, buddy, you're not paying for it.
Exactly.
Have you ever thought, Hillary, about putting plans in place, or your parents? I know you're very close with your parents.
So I've actually thought about it a lot, probably more than the average person, but I think that's because I do a lot of what you were just talking about. I deal with the things that are difficult to deal with. So in my career, I've dealt with a lot of grief and loss of clients and had to process that with other clients. And I've thought, okay, well, what do I want? That's a strange thought for a younger person to have. I also know what my parents would want for me. And I was just talking to Brittany, and we were like, I said, you know, my thoughts are very different, and I want to be a tree. And I didn't know that I could be a jewel.
Oh, yeah.
So
And you've got a lot of
You
hair.
can also be in space. Wayne Senya.
Yes.
Okay, so this kind of, I love how it's kind of coming full circle. So the whole idea, and I read this quote this morning, it's imagination, not intelligence, that makes us human.
True that.
And if we can imagine what we want, we can do that. And with this whole conversation, if I only know that the options are cremation in an urn that's going to sit on somebody's mantle or get mistaken or knocked over for kitty litter or so, you know, like the horrible things that I've seen, or be in a box in the ground, I'm going to have a little bit more anxiety making that decision than if I sit with the conversation and I talk to somebody who has different options, because my imagination's limited to what I know. Once there's other options, now my imagination's like, well, wait a minute. I can be a bench, I can be a tree, I can go to space, I can be a jewel. Who's gonna wear this jewel? Why do I wanna be a jewel? I think I wanna be a tree, but I can't have that conversation if the choice is a box or an urn.
I feel like you should write a book about this.
No, you know,
I'm not writing
serious.
another
I think
book.
you
I think
brought-
Dignity should write a book about this, taking the fear away of choices.
Well, I wanted to ask you, because you hit on a couple of points. I wanted to ask you. People tell me, why are you doing this? You're too young. And I said, and I said to the person who asked me that, which was my son, I'm doing it to take it out of your hands.
Exactly.
It has nothing to do with age. If I can afford to do it and keep working until I can't, then I give it to you. You know, give it to me. He tells me, oh no, I'm going to give it to you. But you want to have choice. You could be under the ocean, which is a tremendous thing. I don't know if you know that they have this thing in the ocean. You can be in a box above ground. I got to tell you, that's a trip. That's like Grant's tomb in Manhattan.
Yes.
You're above ground in the tomb, and it is the coolest thing I have ever seen.
Yeah, it's totally private too. Some of them, I mean, you could walk in like it's a little building, and you can sit there with your family.
we
and
saw that when you
talk.
have.
Yes, it's
But I'm talking
beautiful.
about even without the building.
Yeah.
I went to some places where that box is on top.
In a lot of other countries, and I don't know what they do in Miami, but if you dig, you'll hit water.
Oh yeah.
So a lot of different countries, they do it with
Above
Like
ground.
New
Above
Orleans, you know,
Yes.
you go to New Orleans, everything is above ground mausoleums because they have to be. But you know, we kind of can get around both options here in Florida, thankfully. But yeah.
Can you put an urn above ground?
Yes. Yeah.
You can.
It's called niches. So there's community niches, which is kind of like the community mausoleum, where it's the big building with smaller 12 by 12 spaces for urns. You could also do the bench, like we talked about. You
I've
could build
seen
your
those,
own
yeah.
family bench that holds all the urns, and that sits above ground.
There's a lot of options.
But I love the opportunity and the differences and the things that you can do. You could be a diamond. It's craziness. You could, you know, all they
who's
need
going to
is a
have
limb.
that diamond.
They could make if they give them a limb, they make
You
a
never
diamond.
know.
See, these are also the questions. I don't have children. My parents have a plot in another state. My grandparents are in that same cemetery.
I got room at the inn in my
I might
garden.
need to join your
Right, I
inn,
think,
which
don't we have-
sounds beautiful.
Brittany,
Oh,
don't I
yeah.
have another area left?
Yes, you do.
Thank you very much.
I can be a tree in
You
your.
should,
Yes.
you should be the tree to give us shade.
Yes.
And I go, look, it's Hilary.
So that's what I thought for my parents, and I actually came home after I met Wayne the other day, and I was talking to my parents about it, and of course they looked at me like, why? This is such a horrible thing to think about. And I was like, no, these are the things that we need to discuss. I'm glad that you have your plans, but I don't have my plans in writing, and I don't have children. So if, God forbid, something happened to me, it would be on my parents.
Right.
And once they're gone, I don't know who's going to visit me. I don't know who's going to have the diamond. I mean, am I going to leave that to my niece? I don't know if that's going to be kind of creepy to her. I don't know how she feels about that. So
It's so interesting. I actually had the conversation with my mother-in-law on Sunday because I had this great idea to go visit my father-in-law in memory care, then to go visit my mother-in-law, and then to pick up dinner and go visit my parents. So I thought this is a great Sunday. Yeah. Anyway, we got through it and grateful that I was able to visit everybody. And my mother-in-law says, I think it's fantastic that you've put all your plans in place. So I said, have you? She goes, no, I don't want to talk about it. She says, we've got half of it done, but I don't want to talk about anything else.
it makes people uncomfortable.
But she thought it was great that I did it. Now, clearly, she's older than me, right?
You know,
And my father-in-law's in memory care.
it's funny you say uncomfortable. Uncomfortable is when the person dies
Yes.
and you ain't got no plan. See, my brother died unexpectedly. He was going to the movies. He died in the parking lot. Heart attack.
Look what just happened to JoJo's friend.
JoJo's friend went to sleep, woke,
After the
and
Super
didn't
Bowl,
wake
and they
up.
don't wake up.
And that's when horrible begins.
Exactly.
You have no idea of what, when people cry, it's one thing, but when somebody dies and you hear, it still raises the hairs on the back of my neck.
Oh yeah,
It's a
gives me
whale.
chills.
I saw it on Tuesday. Now, I didn't even know this guy well. And that whole thing that they went through, I haven't been to a Catholic funeral in a long, since I was an altar boy, in a long time. My parents in Puerto Rico, that was a different thing. It brought a tear to my eye because I look around and I see the wails and the crying, and they were separated for many years, the family, and they all came in, and they all say, oh, they knew me. I didn't know them. But the bottom line here is that you don't know pain until you go through it. And if it's unexpected, the pain is 10 times worse.
You're completely in shock too. You can't make those decisions when you're in that amount of shock and grief, and to expect people to make those decisions in that moment of their time is so hard.
We're going to take a commercial break. Brittany's staying with us, so give us a call at the radio station with any questions, 888-565-1470. When we come back, we got to get talking to Dr. Hilary's total holistic community.
Time to tighten up the brain.
Tighten it up and have some more fun. Give us a call. We're going to take a quick break, and we will be right back.
Jay Harmon, exclusively in the Gallery of Boca. Jay Harmon captures the essence of really creative and captivating mind. Jay Harmon brings light into the darkness on majority of his pieces, using a negative background to highlight the details of some of his looks. I know some artists use white canvases, but he thrives on a black canvas. And here's the kicker. He only uses pencil, colored pencil, graphite pencil, and pencil for his art pieces. Yes, I know it's hard to fathom that these beautiful pieces came from pencil, but yes, they did. And the only way you can experience Jay Harmon is if you come to the Gallery of Boca. Jay Harmon, an unconventional artist with a unique story behind every canvas.
Even though some things are far away, we plan for them ahead of time because they're important. When it comes to your celebration of life, it's really no different. You want to plan ahead now so your family doesn't have to later, and create a service that reflects your values, character, and traditions, no matter what they may be. At Dignity Memorial, we listen to every detail and make sure everyone is remembered.
You've been watching the Brooklyn Cafe Show. Join us each day and after hours as we talk about the hot topics to open the conversations and share a few laughs. Now, back to Dawn and Freddie S.
This portion of the Brooklyn Cafe is brought to you by Dr. Taylor's Holistic Community. Needing a reset back to zero? Dr. Taylor's here to assist you out of that slump, to remove the clutter from your life, to stay connected to your environment. Just don't take my word for it.
It is important to stay connected and have a community. If you need one, we are here for you. Dr. Taylor's Holistic Community, we always have your back.
Slick put that one together.
Thank you, Slick.
Don't take his word for it. I don't know about you. Slick, I love all the personal touches you do.
Yes.
Right?
Okay. Yeah, I'm on it.
Thank you. Let's talk about Dr. Hilary Taylor's Holistic Community. Yesterday was a big day, and we have to just briefly touch upon manifestation of the Portal Day.
Okay, so I'm not gonna discuss the portal because Freddie gave me the, we don't want to discuss the portal. I don't know why. But the whole idea is it was a very powerful day because of the amount of repetition in numbers. When we see numbers and repetition, I don't know about you, when I see 1111, something happens. I notice it. If I see multiple numbers on a license plate, something happens in my brain. And what I have grown to believe is that that can mean whatever we want it to mean. For me, that means that the universe works in mysterious ways and the universe has my back. And when I see my birthday, 12/13, come up on the clock, I say, okay, yay, universe. It doesn't matter if it's an actual thing. It's more about what we believe it is. And I think that goes back to the intention setting, the manifestations, using your imagination. It doesn't have to be believable to anyone but you.
Well, let me ask you about that, because there are people, listen, I've been this way my whole life, and everyone would laugh. And until they ask me for something, can you do this for me? Of course I can. I wave my wand, and we do. We make light of it, but then it does work. There are people that judge others who believe in manifestation, who believe in crystals, who believe in holistic healing, to the point that even sometimes regular physicians turn their head to you because they don't understand your beliefs in holistic communities.
So I think that the word that you just used was, or the phrase is, they don't understand. And it's not taught. And like you said, it's something that you've always done. So I think that what's happening in this new world order that Freddie loves is that people are starting to realize that there are options. And like we were talking about at the funeral homes, like the more you know, the more you can imagine. So if I believe, and what I do tell people who are skeptical, I say, okay, are you a religious person? And the answer is usually yes, and that's why I don't believe in this. There's another reason. And I would say, okay, do you light candles? Do you say prayers? So what is the difference between a prayer and lighting a candle, or lighting a candle and knowing that the flame is very meditative and I'm gonna stare at it and I'm just gonna say something out loud, which as a psychologist, I can say that's a positive affirmation. As a spiritual person, I can say that's an intention and a manifestation. And as a religious person, I can say that's a prayer or a psalm. So you don't have to believe in it. It's there, and it's there in many different ways. And I think that the more spiritual you are, the more you lean towards it's the universe. The more religious you are, you lean towards it's God, and anywhere in between is okay. Physicians do what they're taught, and that is a lot of why I became a life coach and I don't practice as a psychologist. I'm more holistic. That's what aligns with me. I need to practice in a way that aligns with me. There are certain therapies that I don't believe in. I think that the way that they're approached could potentially be harmful to somebody. So intuitively, I do what I think is right, and that might mean telling a client Go buy yellow flowers. I see yellow flowers in your house. You need to go buy yellow flowers. And they might think that I'm crazy, and that's okay. But I don't know any psychologist that would tell somebody to do that.
Well, let me clarify something. It isn't that I don't believe in manifestation. What I believe in, what I hear you describing, is the focus, the renewed focus on changing energy. See, I'm a firm believer that energy with people that are depressed, angry, or Putin, whatever you want to call it, are at this level.
Is that now a verb?
Yeah, he's a verb. At this level. And what you describe, yellow flowers raise the intensity. When I was growing up, I shouldn't be here. At the age of 2, I was taken to somebody who did something to me to bring me back to life, because I was dying. And I remember the music and the people dancing around me. And they did this to raise frequency. And we spoke to Sunny yesterday, and it's now in my life that I'm beginning to look back at all the things you're describing, music, energetic. Holistic allows you to open the pathway to actually realize that you can change things if you see it, if you believe it. It isn't that I don't believe in manifestation. If I take a flower and I drop it, okay, 30 seconds ago that flower was going to drop anyway. But do you see it? Do you see the signs? So I love it when you speak the way you do, because it channels people the opportunity. And we don't have many opportunities. We have select few that change us.
What about someone who, anything that happens, it's a sign, it rained, what do you think that means? The dog had an accident in the hallway, do you think that means something? Because it happens every time I get home from work. You probably have clients.
That means something.
Patients. It means that dog needs to go out more often, right? Did you get a dog walker?
He gets too excited. You need to take him out immediately, or.
But clients who are totally in the, what do you think that means? What do you think that means if, my air breaks every month, or?
So
paranoia?
One of my practices is grounding. I do believe that you can probably find meaning in anything if you look, but part of being a human is living in the present and having the wherewithal to make decisions in the present. So if I'm in the car and I'm too busy in my head, and I'm going to call it airy, like in my head, and I think, oh, somebody passed me, what do you think that means? And oh, the song's on the radio, what do you think that means? I'm going to forget maybe where I'm going, that I need to merge and potentially cause a problem because I need to merge immediately. So there's a sense of almost dissociating when people are caught up in the flighty, everything means everything. And for those people, I focus more on grounding and staying in the present.
For a patient, as a clinician to a patient?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and I will go out with my clients, and I will do it with them on the phone so that they know they're not doing it alone, because it feels funny for somebody who's constantly in their head to be silent and quiet their mind.
How do you help people get grounded?
So there's an amazing technique that I use that actually works really quickly, and I do it as often as I can because I can be very anxious and I need to be grounded. Taking your shoes off or standing in shoes that have a natural fiber on the bottom of the sole and standing in the ground and feeling your feet rooted to the planet. That, if you've ever done it, you'll know what I'm talking about. You will know the feeling of the dirt between your toes, and yes, it's dirty because it's dirt, and you might have to wipe your feet off or wash your feet before you go back in your house. But there's nothing besides fire ants that's really gonna hurt. So look where you're stepping. There's nothing that's gonna hurt us. And knowing that we are all connected and that the energy of everything is connected, and believing in nature and believing that you are, again, sort of with the numbers, the repetition of numbers, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. and remembering that, even if it's a bad place in that moment, that's what's supposed to be happening. And we're human, and not everything is roses, but we can get through the bad things, and just staying grounded and connected can really help us kind of get out of that, oh, it's happening for this reason, and it's happening for this reason. We're here, we're present. What can we do with that moment?
Well, I got a grounded mechanism for you. I came out with this about 6 years ago.
Yes.
So we get the Hilary rubber bands. And you put a rubber band on your wrist. So when you find yourself drifting or you're not focused, you snap that bad boy. And I guarantee you, you're going to come back to reality real
So
quick.
I love that, and you're actually doing a psychological technique that we're taught in doctor school.
Look at that, I'm a psychological technique.
It is, it's a technique, and it's more about changing your negative thought patterns and your negative behaviors. So every time we suggest that if you wear the rubber band, and I wear a rubber band, and every time if, that's for my hair, but if I do have a negative thought, if just like a I'm not good enough, or I'm nervous, or whatever that is, and I snap it, it's just a reminder that, no, wait, that's just a feeling. That doesn't have to be the truth. And if you're in the clouds and you snap it, yes.
It'll bring you back.
It'll bring you back quickly.
We did that at iHeart. The other thing we talked about yesterday, church bells that ring in the town. That if you look into that, you go into ancient history, that was done to change the frequency of the town, to uplift. When you pray over your food, I don't know if anybody even does that anymore.
Slick does that.
When you pray over your food, it's supposed to increase the frequency of what you're about to put into your body. And that's one of the reasons that it was done. It wasn't done for anything else. Everything has a tail. We were talking about this. Everybody has a tail. You have a tail. I have a tail. A tail.
What kind of tail?
It tells you about the inner workings of your mind.
Like a tail attached to your bottom?
No,
or
like a tail.
story?
Like if you twirl your hair, or if you get nervous when you talk. All these are tales. Or if you blink.
They're stories.
A story that tells something about you. And if you dig deeper, you get even deeper.
But you can change the story.
Can you?
Absolutely.
If you want to.
That's what I do.
If you want
If
to.
you want, and that's why I don't do what I used to do.
You can change the narrative.
You can change the narrative every single moment of the day.
That's why you're so different. And it's
Thank
funny
you.
because when you meet certain people in your life, like I just met her, it changes your perspective on what you're looking at.
I was a
From
little
today,
intimidated to meet Brittany a couple weeks ago. I have
She
to
scared
tell
the hell
you.
out of me.
Right? We were a little intimidated to go to the cemetery and meet you. And even
Really?
Wayne's like, "You want to go inside and meet anyone?" No, we're good. We're just going to meet you, and then we're going to get in the car and go back.
That's so funny.
And he says, "You sure? You're walking around. It's a long walk, and it's really hot out. You want to?" No, we're good. But by meeting you, it changed the narrative. And meeting you in person totally allayed my fears. And you're lovely. And now we get to work together and do more things. But I was fearful, again, and we do this all the time.
Yeah.
About
because
meeting
we get
you.
into our own heads
Yeah.
way too much. Like, it's.
And I think what you said too, fear. Fear is what we make up in our heads. It's the stories we tell ourselves that this is going to happen. But what if we change that?
That's right.
There's that idea of raising the frequency, raising the vibration. The law of attraction says that if our vibration is low, we're going to attract that low vibration. So
Oh, that law, you're into that law of attraction thing too?
I'm into the law of attraction.
See,
Watch
I
The
don't-
Secret.
I've
And
seen
you've
it.
watched it.
I've seen it. And I've had shows. I've had.
But look what a great day you've had today, because you woke up with great things happening.
I had a great day today. Okay.
Right? Better than
Every
yesterday?
day. Every day to me is a great day. I come to work. I get to work with people. Every day is a
Yeah,
great
great
day. I
day.
don't measure the word great. Great to me, there's only one being that I never got to meet, which is Jesus, is great for me. Everything else is just another day. And I go through every other day. And I have fun. I love a party. I am having a comedian when they put me to rest. She's coming out. And I spoke to her. I says, whatever it takes, we get it done. I don't want people crying at this thing. Listen, I'm not the crying type for you. I want you to be happy, be in yourself, do the whole mindset thing. But isn't it nice to meet somebody who can actually say, here's the door to change?
But
'Cause
Dr.
change is
Hilary,
a great thing.
before we wrap up this hour, you're going to stay. I want people to know you don't only help people get grounded. You help clients also with what?
I help clients achieve what they want. And that really is, it's such a difficult thing to put into words, because figuring out what you want is part of the process. So I'm very goal oriented. I work with my clients to achieve their goals, but I also work with them to achieve the goals that they really are in alignment with. And a lot of people are, I think, post-pandemic or whatever stage of pandemic we're in, are questioning their relationships, are questioning their occupations, are questioning their all different aspects of themselves, because we've had that time to sort of do that self-reflection. So now it's about, okay, well, do you want to do something about it?
You've always been like this?
Yes, I have, always. And I thought everybody was like me.
Ah, that's a spin.
Sounds like
Brittany,
me.
you're grounded. You've always been like this?
No, I haven't, actually. I started becoming more spiritual, I would say, around age 22, once I kind of came into myself. You know, I was done with school, and then I was like, what is my purpose? And, you know, I started reading and just kind of trying to figure out myself. And I definitely practice groundedness, because I have anxiety and I have very high stress at times where
Would you know that?
it takes over.
No.
I wouldn't.
We got more to talk about.
I wouldn't see that.
You got more to talk about in the next hour. To get in touch with Brittany, you can find her through IJ Morris,
Yep,
Dignity
Star
Memorial.
with David. My cell is always the best way to get me, which is 561-307-4899.
And for Dr. Hilary, Dr. Taylor's Holistic Community.
I'm drthc.net, also 1-833-552-4442.
All right, the ladies are going to join us for
Let's
the next
close
hour.
down the radio.
Yep. Have a great day, everyone. For more information, stay tuned with us on the other side. And for those who are not going to join us, thank you to WWNN, and we will see you next week.
And don't be late.
Bye-bye.
Well, that wraps up our brunch hour. But don't go away. Stay tuned for more laughs and cheers on Facebook or YouTube or any other social media platform at the Brooklyn Cafe TV. See you soon.
The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of its hosts, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management.
Yo, what's up? Baby, let's go! Welcome to our website. We've got loads of music gossip for you today. But first, here's a new song.
Many suppliers, whatever car or truck you have, I can get you incredible deals on any tire.
I hear you.
I also do tire repairs at very low prices. Give me a call. My number is 95.
Yo, this is Shelly Michelle and the fire again. Yo, this is Shelly Michelle and the fire again. We're going to nice up the world.
Read more while I'm music. Baila el ritmo. Do you feel the rhythm just taking over? Do you know music ignites a happy feeling? Do you want to mueve tu cuerpo? Come, let's go. Move your body to the beat of the rhythm. Move your body, just move your body. Ritmo a la música. Move your body, just move your body. Baila, baila el ritmo. Come on, everybody, we're feeling fine. Come on, everybody, let's move in time. Groove to the rhythm when you hear the beat. Groove to the rhythm, let's move your feet.
Como que venga todo el mundo que esto es pa' gozar. Con tu fire Shelly vamos a bailar. Un paso para adelante y otro para atrás. Con la kimbala, esto va a explotar. Venga todo el mundo que esto es pa' gozar. Con tu fire Shelly vamos a bailar. Un paso para adelante y otro para atrás. Con la kimbala, que la king, mamá.
Do you feel,
Buena señorita.
feel the rhythm on your feet now? Do you know music unites the world together? Do you want to mueve tu cuerpo? Come, let's go. Move Come on, everybody, we're feeling fine. Come on, everybody, let's move in time. Groove to the rhythm with the ever beat. Groove to the rhythm, let's move your feet.
Actívate, mamita, que esta vaina sí está buena. 1, 2, 3, suelta la cadera en Panamá, Trinidad y hasta Venezuela. Cuando te ven bailando y sálvese quien pueda, señorita. La pista está candela. Los cueros, ahí me condenan. Ven, señorita, ven, mamacita. Ven, don, ven, don, ven, don. Que venga todo el mundo que te pa' gozar. Con Dulce y Shelly vamos a bailar. Un paso para adelante y otro para atrás. Con la quimbala, cumbala, esto va a explotar.
Come on, everybody. Come on, everybody. All fire. Let's move your body, move it.
Los cueros, ahí me condenan.
Move your body, groove it.
Ven, don.
Move your body, move
Ven,
it.
señorita, ven, mamacita.
Shake your hips to the music.
Ven, don.
Jamming together. Feeling the fever. Hips just a moving. One love forever. Baila el rhythm. Jamming together. One love together. Jamming together. Baila el rhythm.
This is Shelly Sushel. Andrew Fire again. Andrew Fire again.
Sweet shirts.
There you go.
It's lunchtime and the Brooklyn Cafe is open for business. Live from the Amp Media Studios, Dawn and Freddie S. and their team are ready to serve up a huge portion of fun for lunch with friends and neighbors. So let's break open that lunch pail and unwrap that sandwich you brought and take a front row seat in the Brooklyn Cafe and get ready to enjoy some humor and hot topics. It's time to get a healthy serving of hope and happiness to help your day go by with a smile. Your hosts, Dawn and Freddie S., are ready to talk about food, health, dating, or just plain dream making. If you have a story to share, movie review, restaurant critique, or just a coincidental thing that happened to you, call in toll free 888-994-4995, Studio A right now. Sit back and enjoy your lunch break at the Brooklyn Cafe. Here are your hosts, Dawn and Freddie S.
JP in the house.
JP in the house. The crew is swapping and doing, and a nice show on the first hour at the
JP
brunch.
did a piece for Jay Harmon. Did you fix it?
Yeah, it has to be sent over.
Okay, but did we get the jiggles out of it?
Hopefully. I like re-rendered like every time.
Grab your mic. Re-rendered everything.
I like re-rendered every part, like
The video, the audio, the transitions.
Okay.
everything.
This is what Alana probably taught you. That is not correct. You do the whole video and you render it at one time. If you render pieces in cuts, each one will render separately, and then when you put them together, they're not going to be the same.
But you have to do it separately and then the whole thing, you know.
No, you do the whole thing at one time. Do not render separately. She was doing that, and she still thinks she's right. She's not right. That's just taking up manpower. You don't need to do render it one time. And see what happens. Alana's funny.
She's funny, but she did a great job. We've got a new commercial we're working on. I just sent it to you. Take a look at that one. And maybe we'll get a new commercial out for Dignity. That'll be amazing to create a new commercial.
Yes, I would love that.
Get some real B-roll of the locations that we're actually working with would be really
Yes.
kind of nice.
Definitely.
So you get that personal feel of options.
Yes.
That's kind of how I feel. It might be nice. No?
It could be interesting because now she sees things.
Yeah,
You
what's
put
it like for you? We were talking about spirituality on the last hour, so we definitely have to
Yes.
continue this conversation with Hilary and with you.
Yeah.
Because
I
you're
mean-
really young, so the ripe old age of 22, you came into your own.
Yeah, I did. I mean, I feel like I was kind of at a point in my life where I'm not a kid anymore. I'm, getting ready to graduate college and start a career and so forth. And, I just felt a little lost, I was in school kind of just floating on by, going to class, having fun, and then you get thrown into the real world, and my whole mind just changed. I felt like I needed something more.
What school did you go to?
University of Alabama, Roll Tide.
Oh, look at that. And what did you major in?
I majored in marketing and human environmental sciences. So I wanted to save the world at one point. I wanted to be like super into like, you know, environmental friendliness, and I still love all that. I do. But I realized, okay, I could become a science teacher.
You became a science teacher?
No,
Sure,
I
that was
realized
an
I
option.
could become that. And then, you know, I did internships with marketing for Marriott. So I started in the hospitality field. I was kind of all over the place. I really did not know what I wanted.
Well, right now you're doing exactly what
And
you're...
I'm doing what I was meant to do. And it somehow fell into my lap. Like my father did this for a little while, and he was like, you know what? You'd be good at this. You have that natural compassion. And I am very like empathetic, so that plays a big role into my career in the funeral and cemetery business.
How did you end up in Florida?
I'm from Florida, so I'm from West Palm Beach, Florida.
So you
Palm
went to
Beach
Alabama
Gardens.
and then you finished there and you came here?
Exactly.
Wow.
I wanted to go out of state. I wanted to go to like a big school and kind of experience something new. And I had a very close friend of mine down here who went too, so it was kind of like buddy system, and it was fun.
Where'd you go to high school?
I went to, so for high school, I went to Jupiter High, and I went to Benjamin for middle school and elementary school.
It's funny because my stepdaughter, said the same thing you said. She wanted to have an out-of-state experience, SEC, so she went to Georgia.
Yeah, exactly.
And your school and that school, holy smokes, when they play football, forget about
very different,
it.
right?
The town turns upside down.
It
Not
does.
not
It
the
was so
stadium.
fun. It was a fun experience, and I'm glad
And
that
you
I
got the
did
better of it in that day.
it. Yeah.
Then you came back and you said, all right, I feel more spiritually connected. Do you find it helps you get in more alignment with your clients when they come to you?
Yes. I mean, I carry a lot of other people's emotions. Like, I can feel it. And so it's very hard for me, but it's also easier for me to, like, help and kind of see what the situation is. If a family's very upset, I'm not going to be in their face and trying to, you know, pull words out of them. Sometimes people come in and they're like, this is what I want. And I'm like, perfect, let's do it. I kind of match the energy that I feel from another person, which makes me, I don't know, I guess easier to work with in this industry because I'm not just one personality, and that sounds crazy, but I can really feel how another person's feeling, and I match that.
And you're not judgmental.
No.
So that same thing I used to say to Wayne. You know, you could tell Wayne almost anything and everything, and I used to try to get Wayne upset to see if he would change his venue, and he doesn't. And we've hung out at the bar with Wayne and everybody else, and Gubba Rum likes to sort of play these games with him and everything else. And Wayne is just very cool, and he stays compact. And I guess you have to listen to what other people want, and it's not an easy time. And with the virus, it became even more tricky. I mean, every day is another trickster going on right now, you know. And people need this out when that time comes, and people need your help. They have to admit they need help. That's the other trick to this thing. There's nobody. You ever seen anybody say, I don't need her help. I don't need nobody's help. I'm good. I'm never going to die. What are you going to worry about that for? I ain't going to die.
But how do you help people, Hilary, from taking in other energies? And Brittany, you're in a situation where you're not only taking in the physical world, you're taking in the spiritual world.
She has tea with me.
Who, Hilary does?
No.
But how do you help not take in other energies? Because not all energies are pure.
Well, do you take them in?
So I think you have to first be aware that you are empathic and that we all have the ability of taking on other people's energy. If you're not aware of that, then I think you can kind of get by without taking it on, if that makes sense.
No, you're going to take it on. You're not
going to know.
No.
You're not going to know what to do with it. I think sometimes we're in a bad mood and we don't know why we're in a bad mood. And so I always encourage people to try to become aware of it first, and then knowing that you're right, not all energy is bad. So one part of it is to protect our own energy,
and the other part of it is to repel the negative. So again, I wear crystals. I do believe in crystal health. There are scientific studies that do talk about the power of crystals. And I also believe that it's my intention. We were just talking about, I asked Brittany, does she sage? And when I ask people that, I never know what they're gonna say to me or how they're gonna respond. But the response was, of course I do. And I was like, okay, you don't think I'm nuts, but if you didn't sage, burning Palo Santo, these are things that have been done for years. And when I mean
what's the difference between sage and Palo Santo as far as the properties of what they do?
So the way that I understand it is that, first of all, with sage is currently, because it's oversaturated in the market right now, there are some people that say, make sure that your sage is sourced appropriately, and we're not, completely getting rid of all the sage. And what it does is the properties are more to banish and suck out the negativity. And I would always encourage somebody to do it by like a breezeway, or if you're in the car, to have your windows open so that you're not sitting in that smoke. Palo Santo, I've been told, is just a little bit stronger and has more of an intensity. I enjoy the smell, so it becomes, for me, a personal thing. I think sage smells like wet socks.
So do you.
And some people will either love it or hate it, but then Palo Santo is something different that you can offer people. And again, it comes back to choice and what aligns with you. And if crystals don't align with you, that's fine. But if they do, if you hold one and you feel something, then that's telling you something, that maybe they do work for you. Or if you light a candle and you feel something, maybe that's the way to go to tap into the energy of yourself. So I also think that when you're working in an environment that does have a lot of negative energy, it's important to protect yourself. And that can be something as simple as thinking about a white light that surrounds you before you go into work for the day, or at night when you get home to shower, and to physically see and feel the negative energy leave and wash down the drain. And I always encourage people, if you have a hard time crying, cry in the shower. It's the best thing ever. Your sorrows will go down the drain. That's the whole point of it. And so it's really about, when to use which tool. That's all they are tools. And what you feel drawn to is what works for you. And whether it's sage or Palo Santo or smelling lavender that does it for you, you get to sort of pick what works for you.
See, all those things are changing frequency. I usually ask people, do you sing? And they say, oh, in the shower, in the car. I says, no, I didn't ask you where you sing. I ask you, do you sing? And when you do sing, even if you hum, somebody in here can sing, because we call her alone in here and she was singing. It changes your whole outlook on life, And math is an exact science. 1 and 1 is 2. It's not 2 and a half. It's not 1 and a half. It's an exact science. That's why if you can think mathematically, if you understand what that means, then everything you're talking about comes into play. So you want to be able to do these things. I would love to play the piano. We have a producer in here that sings and plays the piano and plays the flute, I found out yesterday. So come Friday, she playing. Absolutely. We have Salsa, who sings in Spanish. We have Slick actually did a cut.
Yes, he did.
And I played it on the radio. It was a year ago.
His Christmas piece?
And I was driving, yes. And I was driving, and Frey was in the car, Linda was in the car, everybody's in the car. And they all said to me, who's that? And I said, that's Slick. And they go, wow. And perception
Slick.
of what they needed to hear at that moment I heard slick. They heard angels. And I was like, wow. And then I had to come in the next day and I had to eat crow and says, you know, that wasn't bad.
You know, the frequency in taking in energies is interesting because I never realized it was a thing until I realized it was a thing. And now when it happens to me, my family says, oh, it's like that time when that happened to you and that happened to you. And sometimes when I walk through old cities and old towns, I didn't realize it was a thing, and now I have to actually try to protect myself because once you realize you don't want to go through that again, and then other people will look at you as if you're crazy.
You're crazy.
Like, what are you talking about?
I got a question that relates to the both of them. So somebody comes to you, a young person, and they want to do this because they want to get it out the way. Price is right when you're younger, you have more time.
Yeah.
The whole,
Oh, with Brittany's plans.
What
Okay.
Brittany does, everything. And then the anxiety sets in because they have to get the courage to get there. So all of a sudden, that anxiety then is transferred over here, where you're going to have to talk them through this thing. I'm sure you do the same thing. But then they end up calling you because they have anxiety. In life, we create our own anxiety.
Yes.
We rent out the space in our heads, and other people's opinions seem to be more powerful than ours. What the hell is that about?
Yeah. We were talking about that. Like, we think people are thinking about us way more than they're actually thinking about us.
You don't think they are?
I don't. I don't think that people think about me as much as I think that they are thinking about me.
Exactly. Exactly. Because their opinion of you is none of your business.
Right.
Right? You don't care what other people are going to say. Well, that's logically, you're not supposed to care. Everybody cares, but it doesn't make a difference what anybody says or thinks. And it's really difficult to talk to people and say, listen, there are things in my life I want. I want to have a family deal where family is family. So that if nobody ever comes to visit you and you got 5 or 6 people in there, you got a company, you got enough to make a card game. Right? If you're alone and nobody comes to see you, that to me is sad.
They call it a BCTV family
That's
plot.
why I wanted to be in like a mausoleum. And I was like, well, you know, if I don't have children and nobody comes to visit me, at least my friends will have people come visit them. So
they'll like
that,
sit
say
over
hi
to your place on the stool and have lunch.
It's interesting. It's a whole community area. We kidded about that, Brittany, right? We talked about doing a BCTV family area garden.
Exactly.
And you laughed, and you're like, but we could do that.
It could be done.
You know, it's no different than when the synagogues take over acres.
Exactly.
And that's where the families from the synagogue go because they know that the
It's all
families are
about
there.
community.
Right.
And there's got to be something to it because I'm the firm believer that the more unisons there is with people around you when that happens, something different happens. Again, call me crazy. I just believe
You
that.
mean in the afterworld?
Yes, and it's funny because when I went into this place of yours, that entire, I was looking around. I was
really
walking
liked it.
around.
We've been to quite a few, and this
Yeah.
one you really liked.
I just got a different vibe on this whole thing.
Yeah.
And it was comforting. As comforting as that could be. And then they sent me to this other place to go to a funeral, and I see the difference night and day, man. I mean, night and day is what I'm saying. And unless you go through it, and you see it, and you sense it, and you feel it, you know, all of a sudden the afterlife isn't scary anymore, for me.
Is it scary for you, Hillary, to have these conversations?
Oh, no. I think I've had the conversations so many times that it takes the fear out of it. But knowing that it is in my control, and I think
That's what you like.
yeah, life is about controlling what you can.
Correct.
And accepting what you can't. And how are we going to respond when things happen that are out of our control? So the more control that I can have over my choices, the less anxiety I'm going to feel about it.
Because you said we create our own anxiety sometimes in life, but there are certain situations that we really should prudently take care of, even though it creates anxiety.
No, you're creating the anxiety. The thing is not creating it for you.
It's your reaction to the situation.
It's how you're thinking about the situation.
That's a whole nother
It doesn't
topic.
have to
It doesn't
create
have to.
anxiety.
I remember when I had to pick out all this stuff for my brother at the funeral. His wife was nowhere around. His son was nowhere. No, it was just me. And I said, I said to the guy, Tommy, I said, Tommy, thank you for helping me. And I've never done this before. And he says, that's a good thing. I go, can you walk me through it? And he showed me, just like what Wayne did. And it's really funny because I'm sitting going through all these things again in my life. And this time I'm talking about myself. And there isn't that anxiety. You know, Mom and Dad, when they went, man, I'm going to tell you, that was a tough time, especially Mom. That was tough. Hurricane, things were damaged. That was a tough one, you know? And I don't want people to go through that. I really don't. I don't want people to come to the site and start to crying. And I don't want that. And if nobody comes, that's okay too. Listen, I know everybody has a busy life. It's all cool. It's all good now. No problem. But I have enough anxiety in my life. If I look around, just watching people have all this anxiety.
It's a lot, I know.
Put it to rest. Relax. Chill out. Come on down to the cafe. Have a cup of wine, a cup of coffee, a tea, whatever, and just chill for a minute.
So we're going to take a commercial break, but I want
chill?
you to know we're going to chill. I made a second pot of coffee today because I feel like when people come in, the coffee now should be welcoming as things are opening up.
Yeah, but the coffee has to be decaf and regular.
I use the same coffee.
No, it's too powerful.
What do you mean?
That coffee you make, man, I'm going to tell you something.
It's mixed.
It is not mixed.
Zing.
Mixed with what?
I mix it in the canister.
With what?
Decaf
You mix
and
it with
regular.
that green bag is pure
No,
Colombia.
different bags.
Oh.
Different bags.
Then I stand
carry you.
corrected.
Let's take a commercial break. When we come back, I want to hear from our producers because JP is very intrigued in this conversation.
They just sent them out here.
I know. He's running floor for us. Stay tuned. 888-994-4995 at Studio A, and we'll be right back.
Born in Marseille, France, Max Lazega creates whimsical and free-flowing interpretive art. His 40 years in the construction industry created the foundation for his craft. His unique work displays his view of the future with bold and playful combinations of materials and processes, but the methodology remains consistent. He fuses recycled materials and discarded building supplies into a fresh, well-executed approach. Lazega has lived in Miami, Florida most of his life, where he pursues his lifelong passion of creating industrial art. For more information, contact Max Lazega at artworkstudios.org or 786-326-8873.
With enough butter, anything is good. Tori Wells from Precious Treasure Gourmet Foods thinks so because she single-handedly updated and expanded butter's possibilities. From compound, savory, sweet, and spicy, her freshly made butters aim to please. I don't know about you, but I've never really seen butter this versatile before, and now so feasible. With online shopping, just visit PreciousTreasuresGourmetFoods.com because at Precious Treasures, Tori is working on the best artisan gourmet foods to every table. Remember, guys, true love is like butter. There's no substitute for the real thing.
Welcome to Movies of Del Rey, a family-run movie theater that has been serving the Del Rey and Boca community for over 30 years. Open Wednesday through Sunday, Movies of Del Rey offers great admission prices, low concession prices, and quality customer service. Movies of Del Rey provides the quality of the big box theaters without the price tag. Movies of Del Rey provides new Hollywood content as well as new indie and independent movies. It truly is a hidden gem. Whether you're hosting a private event, party, or fundraiser, or are looking for your next date night activity, Movies of Del Rey is the perfect choice. Come on down to Movies of Del Rey, located at 7421 West Atlantic Ave in Delray Beach, or visit us online at moviesofdelray.com.
Brooklyn Cafe Show. Join us each day and after hours as we talk about the hot topics to open the conversations and share a few laughs. Now, back to Dawn and Freddie S.
This portion of today's show is brought to you by Sonar Wines America. Wines made with music.
And we're back.
That's actually a great spot as we're talking about energy and frequency and sound. Imagine having wine that is infused with different musical energy.
Which is really cool. They actually infuse it, either you sing or something, and they change the frequency. He showed us how what's his name? Chico. Showed us how they take sand and they put it on a board that has nails on it. And then they run frequency through it and it makes designs. And it's not shaking or anything, it's just frequency. And that frequency actually makes designs. Depending on the pitch of the frequency, it changes the design.
Wow.
What's the matter?
No, I was just looking at what
Checking out the piece behind me, which is beautiful.
This is the artist.
I know that's the artist.
He is in the house. Artist Stephen Zorn, the piece that sits behind me on set, is just spectacular. You talk about a lady's piece of art, so beautiful.
And again, art has its own frequency.
I love this piece. Like this could go in your dressing area, it could go in your bedroom, your bathroom.
High level frequency.
Right, to see this jeweled piece all the time, you just feel elegant and like a lady.
It changes stuff around. It's funny because there's a segment where there's a gentleman who paints upside down to music.
Michael Israel's one looked just like that.
And then he turns it right side up, and there's art there, and everybody's like oohing and ahhing. People have been paying $1,000 to sit and watch this magician, this magical guy do this thing. And he attributes it to the same thing, frequency and changing and perception and lights and everything else.
Ever notice when you get dressed in the morning, if you turn on music, you feel one way. If you turn on a different type of music, you feel another way. And if you turn on the TV because you feel like we need to be informed, you feel another way. So I often get torn between the I should be informed before I go on air versus the I should elevate myself before I go on air. You're laughing.
I'm torn all the time because I feel like, should I listen to a podcast? Should I network? Should I be spending my time moving with music to raise? What should I do first? And again, I do what feels right in that moment, and that might change from moment to moment. So I'm kind of all over the place.
Every day is a different moment to moment for you when you wake up?
I have a magical morning, which is usually consistent because I found what works for me. Throughout the day, it does change.
You want to know what her magical morning entails?
Yes.
So I'm very detail oriented. So my magical morning is waking up, petting my dog, saying some kind of positive affirmation, like today is going to be a great day. Getting up, washing my face, brushing my teeth, brushing my hair, doing what I need to do. That's all usually to music. And then making my coffee is probably the highlight of my morning. And I add in different things all the time. I add in different extracts or cinnamon or different herbs, whatever I want. And then I go outside. And in Florida, we don't have to get more dressed than we already are. We don't have to put on layers to go outside.
So you go outside naked?
So no, but I'm saying I'm already. Oh, I left out
that
that
dress
detail.
part, yeah.
I said that was in the, and I do all my stuff. So getting dressed and then I have my coffee. Mostly because if I go downstairs, there are windows everywhere. So
you get neighbors.
I have neighbors.
Wait a minute,
I'm in a townhouse.
You're going to go outside from upstairs?
But you got to go downstairs.
I have to go down. Do I have to tell you every detail?
Well, you say you're detail oriented.
I am, but I don't
think you're jumping
go
out the window
downstairs. So, and I do have a patio upstairs.
That's what I figured.
That I do sometimes enjoy.
Oh, there you have it.
But I want to take my dog out, and so I go downstairs and I let my dog out, and I just sip my coffee in silence. And I kind of do. I believe in doing everything intentional, and that makes everything more enjoyable. So I don't do anything. I don't say I have to do this. I say I get to do this. So every time I hear myself say I have to do something, I'm like, no, no, no. I get to take a shower. I get to, kind of puts in the being grateful, because not everybody can do that and has those options. So I get to go visit my parents every week, and I get to spend time doing things that maybe other people are like, I have to do this.
Do you have siblings?
I do. I have an older brother. He does not live in the state.
Is he like you?
Do you mean like the spiritual? No. I'm the woo-woo child. I don't believe that I don't know if this is a genetic thing. I don't believe that everybody in the family feels the same way about certain things. I remember being, I think, 6, and my parents taking us to Tijuana. They thought that was a really good idea. And it was like part of our California trip. So just Tijuana for the day, maybe get some things for great deals. And the poverty that I remember seeing as a 6-year-old and the look on somebody's face when I gave them a nickel changed my life. And I remember crying so much that we had to leave Mexico because I wouldn't shut up.
Wow.
And from that moment on, I think my parents realized I was different. But again, like I said before, I thought everybody was like me. I didn't think that I was any different. And the more I talk to people, who identify as an empath, they usually are the black sheep of the family, the different one, the one that everybody looks at kind of strangely until they start to see the truth in what they're doing, and they see the spirituality, and they might see how your life changes. And now my mother has like a little bit of an interest when I read tarot. She's like, you can read cards for me. And we tried that, and it didn't go so well. So not everybody has the same views on spirituality as me, and my brother's definitely more of a business mind, of a here and now. He has a family, he has a business, so definitely more religious,
It's
not as
interesting
spiritual.
because sometimes you and I will talk about bloodlines. And I actually met a girl at a Super Bowl party, and she is the last bloodline of this great Rebbe. And she's the last female of this bloodline. And I forget, it starts with an M. I forgot what it's called. I'd never even heard of this before. But how she has it and nobody else in the family has it, right? And I said, well, what about your brother? Nope, it has to be a female. What about this side? Nope, it has to be only a Jewish female. But you talk about bloodlines, right? But your brother's different than you, even though they're from the same theoretical parents.
So if you ask, I don't want to say sages, I don't know what you call them, but I've asked people who are even more spiritual than I am, and they have explained to me, and again, there's no judgment, this is all about what you believe, but they have explained to me that the family that you are born to in this lifetime might not be the family that you were born into in the past lifetime. And there's different timelines. So if in a different timeline you were born to a different family, you might have more in common with that other family than you feel that you have in common with your current present day family.
What do you think?
How do I, okay. Parents have interests in their kids, no matter what. No matter what anybody tells you, no matter what you think, it doesn't matter, because parents know how they feel about their kids. Case in point, your kid goes to jail. Parents going to be there and says, my kid didn't do it. He didn't do that. She didn't do it. No, my kid, they don't do that. And maybe you didn't talk to them for years. Parents have that energy level with one another. The problem with parents is that sometimes they don't know how to express it. You know, English is not very sexy sometimes for people. Sometimes language is a barrier. Sometimes you're growing up in today's society and they're from the old society, and those two have a hard time mixing. Like I have this thing with my son Freddie that I don't have with Gio, and I have something with Gio that I don't have with Freddie. And if I had a daughter, I would have a different relationship than the two of them. But parents sometimes have a difficult time expressing just how important you really are in their life. And sometimes when you lose your parents, like I don't have mine, I tell you, you know what, even if she's screaming at you, fighting with you, telling you whatever you think you're hearing, you grab your parents and you hug them. Because at the end of the day, there's nothing more special than your parents and yours relationship. It may not seem that way right now, but it always is there. And when the tough get going, when you're in those final days and things happen, trust you me, there's not enough time in the day, you're gonna start thinking back and says, I shoulda, coulda, woulda. And I'm going through that right now with my father. I shoulda, woulda, coulda, because we grew up poor. My father says you work your way out of any situation. He worked like a dog. He sent us all to college, and he worked some more. And my father was 88 when he died, he was still working. And my father used to tell me, 15 minutes a day, your feet in the dirt. My father had medical problems that they are still trying to figure out how he survived. But my father was always in the soil. He was a farmer. And he had blood clots, and they went from his leg through his heart into his lungs. They could not understand to today why my father was alive. You were there. When you met him, he was in a hospital, and he was talking to other nurses.
With everybody in Spanish, yep.
And they said to him, let's just leave him alone, because we don't know. We don't know why your father's alive, and he should have died 20 years ago, and you go from there. So it's interesting, you wake up, I like that factor in the morning. I hate waking up without loud noise. We have this speaker, we put it on, man, you can hear it down the street, and I don't care. Linda likes to drink coffee outside. I don't like it because I got these birds, they're too big, and they're loud birds, man. They wreck me, these birds, they're too loud. I got falcons now on the fence. I should send you pictures. I got ducks, I got geese. I live like in the zoo.
It's beautiful.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful. It was beautiful the first time I lived there 11 years ago. Now I have these birds that have a wingspan, and they're nesting up on my roof.
You get to see beautiful nature every day.
I will invite you over. You can take them home with you.
What about people who never are able to leave their 10 by 10 cell and only imagine about seeing a bird?
About that 10 by 10 cell. If you can't do the crime, if you can't do the time, don't do the crime. That's all I got to say to that.
So screw those people, they don't need birds.
You have choice. There's the right way and then there's the other way. I lived in Puerto Rico, in the rainforest. Animals, I can show you spiders that are bigger than you, and they fly. I used to go, Dad, I'm going back to New York. I had so many animals, roaches. There's somebody in this building picks them up and puts them outside.
Yes, I did that last night. I heard Chuck.
I take a hammer to them.
I said, what are you doing? He says, I'm killing a palmetto. I went, no, you need to pick it up. He said, are you kidding me? I said, no.
I vacuum them.
I said,
no, because they'll lay eggs in your vacuum.
But they don't die very easily. So even with his banging, I was still able to pick it up and let it go.
No wonder why we have a million extra palmettos. She puts them in the vacuum. The dirt in the vacuum,
no,
they
I don't
eat
put it in the vacuum.
No, she does.
They die of
They
natural
don't.
causes in the vacuum.
They
They
hatch the
die
eggs.
of natural causes in the vacuum.
You're not
They
doing well with
die
this
of natural
vacuum.
causes. Look, I believe what I believe. You believe what you believe. Don't burst my bubble.
All right, let's take a commercial break. Give us a call,
She feeds
888
them.
994
In the
4995.
vacuum.
I actually put it in the garbage, and Chuck went to take out the garbage this morning, and it was walking around the top layer. And he said, it's still alive. It's going outside.
I mean, I take a hammer to them. And I have a question. When we come back, I want to ask about mummification.
Oh, okay.
Is that still doable?
I'm not an expert on that, honestly.
But if you wanted it, can it be done?
Or like a cryo freeze. Or
When we
something.
come back from commercial, we'll have this conversation.
I gotta see what's in the lobby. Stay tuned.
Mummification.
We'll be right back.
Welcome to Mini Donut World, where the donuts are hot, fresh, and delicious, made to order and customizable by you. Gourmet specialty flavors such as apple pie, French toast, campfire, and strawberry cheesecake are always popular. Looking to tailor your appetite? Build your own mini donuts. Choose from over 18 flavored donut bases, add on your icing flavor, and choose from over 15 toppings and drizzles. While kids enjoy our design your own kits to take home, our 21 and over customers love our alcohol-infused donuts. Come visit Mini Donut World at 8763 Sterling Road in Cooper City. Have questions or want to place an order? Give us a call at 954-369-2301. We know you will love each bite of our deliciously distinctive mini donuts.
Welcome to your vacation staycation. And what better way to kick back than to blend up a sweet pina colada, a smooth mojito, or just a nice stiff rum and coke. If you want true relaxation and enjoyment, then you want Gubba Rum. Gubba Rum is a unique rum infusion. Gubba Silver Rum is infused with real shredded coconut, and Gubba Rum Gold is infused with real shredded vanilla bean. Both are made with certified organic ingredients. Each infused Gubba Rum is 35% ABV, 70 proof, and as we say in Boston, wicked smooth. So if you're looking for the best combination of taste, smoothness, quality, and price, your clear choice is Gubba Rum. If you want that wicked smooth taste for yourself or your vacation staycation, visit GubbaRum.com to find your closest liquor store that carries Gubba Rum Gold and Gubba Rum Silver. Gubba Rum, it's wicked smooth.
Meet Jay Harmon, one of the many artists held in the Brooklyn Cafe Gallery. Jay specializes in various different art styles, but his medium to work with is colored pencils. His unique style comes from being self-taught and years of practice. Jay pulls his inspiration from many outlets like people, television, celebrities, and many more. With multiple original pieces, Jay's art graces the gallery with over 40+ works for viewing and for purchase. His many years of being an artist has given him a chance to partner with the Derwent brand, giving him the opportunity to try many different work styles and further his craft. Feel free to come down and visit the studio to view his work, or if you're interested in your own Jay Harmon original, he's open to commissions on his website, coloredpencilartist.com, or catch his show, The Colored Pencil Artist, on Amp Media Productions on YouTube and Facebook. See you soon.
Brooklyn Cafe Show. Join us each day and after hours as we talk about the hot topics to open the conversations and share a few laughs. Now, back to Dawn and Freddie S.
This segment of the Brooklyn Cafe Show is brought to you by Coffee News. News to be enjoyed over coffee.
I think it's pretty good. Frenchie took care of that one for you. We have an
How
intern.
come you can call her Frenchie and I can't?
You can. We have an intern who's from France, but she's half British, half Spanish, growing up in France. So her computer's in French. So every time she goes into our apps, it changes to French when she sends it to us until she logs out. He logs back in English. So we'll get these pieces and the whole thing sends to us in French, even though the piece is in English. It's hilarious. And now I think she does it just to mess with you.
She does, and then she started talking to me in Spanish. yesterday, and I spoke to her in Spanish. She says, "Oh, you do speak Spanish."
She just likes to test you. She's
She
hilarious.
does. She leaves here. I says, "Make sure it's not in French." And she leaves here, and everything's in French. I can't read that.
And Anna's Portuguese.
She does
so
it in
even when Anna
Portuguese.
sends stuff over, it comes over in French. It's funny. Anyway, this segment brought to you by Coffee News.
Coffee News. Horoscopes. You believe in horoscopes? What is that?
A little bit
What is wrong with your
general.
hair?
She's December 13th.
I'm December 13th.
What sign
but
is that?
Sag. But I believe that horoscopes are very general.
Well, these are very
Usually.
specific.
So if I read somebody else's, I'll be like, oh yeah, that's me too. I don't find horoscopes.
She's Sag.
At this time, it may be easier to address the impact of any old wounds that are holding you back. In doing so, you may find a new image of yourself.
Okay, so
I
is
think
any
that's powerful.
Dawn, are you a Sag?
No, I'm an Aries.
Did you find any of that to be true for
Absolutely.
you?
For you, not for me. You're a Sag.
But that.
So like it could be anyone. Brittany, do you have old wounds that are holding you back?
Of course.
Right. So
you
it could
know?
be any. It could be
If
any
I-
of us.
If I'm looking for them, I could find them.
Right. I don't honestly. Off the top of my head, I think I'm pretty good with old.
That are
wounds.
holding you back.
They're not holding me.
Nothing's holding you back.
I don't think so.
You don't think so? Well, maybe we have to dig deeper.
Maybe. I mean, I do a
Look
lot
further.
of self.
You do a lot
work.
of clearing, yeah.
Do you?
Yeah. So
My sister's a Sagittarius. I'm going to tell you about Sagittarius.
Does she have old wounds holding her back?
Oh, of course. Of course. But I got to tell you something about Sagittarius. I think every shrink in the world is a Sagittarius.
Really?
Deep thinkers. Deep thinkers. And boy, when they make a cup of coffee, all of these things they go through.
Really?
My sister's like that.
Really?
I used to make fun of my sister because, in my opinion, she made certain foods the only way I liked it. Didn't care about anybody else. And then she would serve me a mountain, and she would sit there and look at me.
Oh, that's sweet.
And I go, what are you doing? She says, I've never seen anybody enjoy the way I cook like you. Not my kids, not my husband, nobody. And I used to eat. She used to say, I used to say to her, okay, just keep
Are you a
waiting."
Taurus?
No, my ex-wife is not. I'm a Pisces.
Pisces.
What are you, Brittany?
I'm a Libra.
You and Slick. Libra. Slick has
But
a Taurus
I
moon
don't know
rising.
if I believe in like the daily horoscopes, but I do think that different signs have that like personality trait. And then, you know, there's like the moon and the rising and all of that too.
Yeah,
It gets
I know people
intense.
that are really into the astrology and the moon
Yeah.
and the planets. And again, there's only so much in my brain can handle.
Yeah,
so,
sometimes it becomes a lot.
So I
Typical
do what I do, and I'm willing to learn about other things, but there's a lot. I mean, that's a whole science in itself. So.
Well, the Libra says, as the week unfolds, you may find that your mood lightens. Oh, we got a, ooh.
Okay.
A balance might be struck between what your heart wants and what your head thinks you should have.
I could probably think of something.
So like your heart may want that piece, but your
Yeah.
head is like, no, I need that piece.
Exactly.
Well, there's also how it looks when you take it down and you take it home, right? So you may have wanted this, and all of a sudden something else
Yep.
is introduced, and you go, you know what? This is a good balance. Everything in life should be balanced.
Yeah.
Right? Like being mummified.
You want to talk about that? So I was reading an article, dates back to like 500 BC,
Tell
that they
them,
found.
before you go down that road, tell them what your mother had.
My mother believes that in her past life she was Cleopatra.
Okay.
And to the point that she would wear malachite to protect her, just as Cleopatra had. And everything, she always had snakes. So my whole house growing up, and my dad thinks he's Mickey Mouse. So imagine those two coming together.
Cleopatra
You
is
want to
Mickey
do a
Mouse.
psychological analysis of me and my siblings?
But tell them what's in your mother's house.
She used to have a sarcophagus, and she would have different
Two.
Nubian statues that would guard the front of her house, and then she would have different things on the wall, all Egyptian situations.
She still does. A couple of
They're
them.
probably in the garage because no one wanted, their house was for sale, and no one really wanted it with the guards and the sarcophagus.
I
and
wanted
King
a
Tut's head
sarcophagus. I wanted to put the sarcophagus in here in the lobby.
But
That word, I can't pronounce that.
But I was reading this story. They found 3 children, they're assuming to be siblings, buried near Stonehenge with a carved, I don't want to say ceramic, but some sort of vase in front of like a tombstone, and they found them holding hands. 2 of them were holding hands, and the 3rd oldest one was like cuddling them, as in like they were all just buried together. And they couldn't believe, because it dates back to so far beyond, not mummified, just in perfect condition in England. It's spectacular, right?
Right.
And there you talk about mummification.
Well, sometimes when there's ice on the ground, it will freeze whatever is in there, and then the soil gets really hard, and it doesn't rot, so it stays like that. But I was always been intrigued by mummification, always, because you see when they open these things up, you can see the face, you can see the lines, the eyes, and all that. I find that kind of cool. And then I meet you, whose mom, I walked into her house, I feel like I was in ancient Egypt.
She truly believes that she was Cleopatra.
She looks like Cleopatra.
Yes, she does.
And your father looks like Mickey Mouse, so it's all good.
Yeah.
But does it bother you? Does it interfere with your life that she believes she was Cleopatra?
Oh, that's a great question.
No.
No, you don't think
So
that
does
other
it hurt
people
anybody?
look at you strangely?
That my mother
that's your
thinks she was
parents?
Cleopatra? Oh, they all look at me strangely.
And
Those are
doesn't
my
bother you?
parents. No. My mother has purple hair.
See, so if it doesn't hurt anybody,
correct.
I believe that she believes she was Cleopatra.
And maybe she was. Maybe
Maybe
that
I
was her
can't say-
bloodline. Who are we
right.
to say no? Right?
Did you tell your mother that Lord and your lady, did you tell her that?
No, I have not told anybody that.
Why?
Because I have not.
Why? I don't understand people. You know, you could be a lordship. You know
It's
that.
more likely that Dawn has ancestors from Egypt than lords and ladies.
Well, it went to lords and ladies, and then it keeps going further back. You know, there's multiple layers of life.
Yes.
You have siblings, Brittany?
I do. I have a little sister.
How little?
Well, she's not little. She's 25.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you have a little sister, and she's 25?
Yeah.
What is she, 4'1"?
No, but she is tiny. She's very tiny.
Really?
Yeah.
Isn't that funny? Genetics are just so interesting.
So weird. I'm like, okay, how did you get like the skinny, small, cute genes? What the heck?
And you're tall. You're kind of tall.
I'm 5'4".
That's tall to me.
Yeah, she's like 5'1" or 5 feet maybe.
She's like my height.
Yeah.
Small but mighty we are.
I say nothing.
But bloodlines are interesting.
We have a kid in here, she's triple J, she's about 3 feet. So we put it next to the tallest guy I've ever known, 7'8".
Wow.
Big John. And we called it the long and short of it or something, the picture. And she's looking up like this, literally looking up like this.
JP, you spiritual?
I don't know. Like, most recently, I was raised Baptist, like, out of my family. But coming into college in, like, my senior year, I've, like, drifted away from it. So
College
I'm not.
has really changed you.
I'd say so, yeah.
Since I first met you, it's changed you.
It's been about a year, I think you've been with us.
I'd say it has
Do you
completely.
like college?
I like it. It feels like a more opening up type of situation. Like, I think I needed it to be, like you said, like, the away college experience. Even my mother, she was like, yeah, you got to get out the house.
Are you out of the house now?
Yeah, I live on
You live
campus.
on campus.
Yeah.
He parks his car, he goes get something to eat, and he loses his parking for hours.
It's like the most terrible thing.
It makes a difference. It's like coming into your own.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And watching everybody change and evolve.
It gives you an opportunity to find choices. I always thought college was the place you went to make mistakes. Except when you're paying $78,000 a year, it's an expensive learning lesson, right? So that game has changed. But I was taught the first day I went to NYU, they said, you're going to make mistakes, do it here. I made a lot of mistakes because they were paying for it. I said, no problem. But then as you get older, things do change. But I've noticed he's changed a lot. I noticed Slick has changed a lot.
Slick's older.
Well, it's the maturity of it. It grows a little bit more, and the responsibilities. And here we are again going through all sorts of craziness that we're going through.
But I think things are opening up and people are actually getting out and doing things more, coming to an alignment. I think it was an opportunity now, as we've all come out of it, to say, you know what, this is who I am. This is who my authentic self is. I can sit with the wand and sparkles and 5 necklaces, but be okay with that.
You're like your mother. The only thing missing is the hair.
I know.
You should dye your hair
We
purple.
used to tease my mom because she would have bracelets up her arm and rings on every finger, and here I sit much the same.
I think we should make the purple hair gang.
She would love it.
Let's order 12 wigs, purple wigs.
She would love it.
I think it'll be hilarious. When's your mother's birthday?
It was February 3rd.
It was? Oh, we got to celebrate her birthday. We'll all wear purple hair. We'll do Purple Rain. We'll have, what's his name, formerly the Prince, come in. Still gonna be Prince.
I don't think he can come in anymore.
Stick it.
Ladies, thank you so much for joining us. It has been an absolute pleasure. We love getting to network new friends. I was thinking this morning how fortunate we are that even through all of this, we have new friends and new clients and new businesses that we are still able to network, come forward, and introduce them.
And we got some announcements tomorrow. We are actually going to start putting together our remote crew.
Nice.
Because I've been getting phone calls about can we do stuff on the outside, and that is coming. So stay tuned for that.
All right. Have a great day, everyone. Stay safe. Be kind to each other. What do you have tonight? You've got Sarah Spiritual. Woo! Who knows what
Talk
can you
about
only
woo-hoo.
imagine? Woo-woo tonight, 6 to 8 on WWNN. Got a lot going on?
You call in and she gives you a reading, so give it a shot.
You never know. All right. Have a great afternoon, everyone, and we will see you tomorrow, 9 a.m. drive time.
And don't be late.
Bye-bye.
Well, that's about it for today. Even though the show's over, the Brooklyn Cafe is always open for business. You're invited to join the fun every day from 12 to 2. If you missed some of the laughs from today, Dawn and Freddie S. will bring you more good cheer next time. You can follow the Brooklyn Cafe on Facebook at the Brooklyn Cafe TV to rewatch every minute of the show. We'll see you next time.
In the cold and sleepless nights, I wait for you to bring me back to life. In my electric eyes, it doesn't mean that time can thicken every single breath. I want to unfreeze my heart and fly away. That's why I wanna save it. Your moons and craters. Open up my eyes, waterfalls of ice, sweeping me away like an avalanche. Helpless as I fall, the words can't say it all, sweeping me away like an avalanche, like an avalanche. I listen for a sound, waiting deep inside my maze of sweeping thrills and colors. Just a ray of light, bathing me in drops of ink that gleams across my body. Wish you could unfreeze my heart and